Hey, God bless you. My name is Ravon Ravenel, and I am the instructor for the first identity training module. We are so excited that you have decided to connect and register for this training. Let's get started with our first lesson. One of the most important questions that you can ask yourself is, who am I? Who you are is the foundation of what you should do with your life. I want to say that again. Who you are is the foundation of what you should do with your life. It creates a trajectory for your future. It establishes a framework for what you should do and what you shouldn't do. One of the benefits of learning and studying and growing in your identity is not only does it help you form and figure out the things that you should do, but it also helps you to realize the things that you shouldn't do, because there are things that you have been preordained to be great in. And if you are not aware of your identity, sometimes you can spend your entire life doing things that you were not created to be successful at. Okay, so the challenge with identity is that we have so many things telling us who we are. Let me give you some examples of that. Your neighborhood told you who you were. Some of your boyfriends told you who you should be. Your family members, if they were not in tune with God, told you who you should be. And what happened is that we got so many ideas of what our identity should be, is that we haven't gone to the one who created us so that we can understand the person that we have been ordained to be from the foundations of the world. Right? So until we discover who God says we are, until we realize who God says we are, we will be subject to the influence of circumstances and people with limited perspectives. Isn't it something that a lot of us have our identity formed by people who know just as much as us, by people whose experiences have been just as limited as ours? Doesn't it make more sense that we should get our identity, that we should get our cues, that we should get who we are supposed to be from the one that created us? Mark Twain said this. He says, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. Let me say that again. He said this. I didn't say this, but Mark Twain said it. He said, the two most important days in your life are the day you find out, or the day you were born and the day you find out why. It is vital that not only you establish the fact that you exist, but that you establish the why behind your existence. Now, I would never take my car to a plumber, and there's a reason for that. The plumber is not equipped to handle the dynamics of my car. My car has a electrical system. My car has a gas system. My car has so many things that are intricate to cause it to function the way that it's supposed to be. A plumber is a very simple tool. He's a very simple engineer. He knows how to work on a toilet, but he does not know how to work on my car. So the reason why we have so many people in humanity that struggle is because we have gone to all these other resources and we have not gone to the source, which is God. Identity is not something that you search for. It is something that you discover. I'm going to say that again. Identity is not something that you search for. You don't look for your identity in things. You don't look for your identity in people. You discover your identity because your identity has been placed in you from the foundations of the earth. I can prove it by the scripture. In Jeremiah chapter 1, verses 4 through 8, listen to what it says. The word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So the scripture is telling Jeremiah before he was formed, the scripture says God knew him. And if God knew us before we even had a body, then he knows what we should be doing while we are in the earth. It is amazing. I want to challenge you with this idea. I want to challenge you with the fact that you had an identity before you even had a body. I want you to think about that. You had an identity before you even had a body. God gave you a body because he first gave you an identity. So your identity trumps the body that you live in. And so it is up to us to get reconnected with God, to get reconnected to who he is, and to get reconnected to who he says we are. And it is a challenge after going through life and after being lied to by so many circumstances and so many people, because sometimes your circumstance can make you form an identity that God never ordained for you to have. For example, maybe you were hurt by a boyfriend, by a girlfriend, by a bad breakup, by a divorce. And because you went through so much pain in that breakup, it has caused you to have a hard heart. Maybe you've been molested. Maybe you've been mistreated. Maybe you were picked on. Those things that happened to you while you were in a body made your heart hard towards certain situations. Some of you who are watching this and who are going through this training have come to this resolve: I will never let anybody else hurt me again. In doing that, not only have you created an identity that's not God ordained, but you have hardened a piece of your heart. You did it for a good reason. You did it to protect yourself from certain amounts of pain, but you also, in doing that, cause yourself to have a hard heart and to develop an identity that was never meant for you to walk in. All right, so listen to the rest of the text. In verse 6, it says, "Alas, O sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young." So when God begins to reveal to Jeremiah who he is, the first response of Jeremiah is fear. And I want to submit to you that as you start your journey of identity, as you start your journey in discovering who you are and what you are supposed to do, it is going to be scary, because some of you are going to have to uproot years of lies that's been told to you. And through this training, God is going to reveal to you who he has ordained for you to be. It's going to be scary. Jeremiah says, "God, I can't even speak. How can you call me to be a prophet before I was in my mother's womb? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to open my mouth." And I want you to hear God's response. "But the Lord said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you, and you will rescue them, declares the Lord." So there's a few principles that I want to pull out of this before we close with our first training. Your true identity will most likely make you feel uncomfortable. Who you are supposed to be will most likely bring you to a place that's not comfortable. And God, for you to go to where you are supposed to be and for you to develop who you are supposed to be, he has to take you through seasons of being uncomfortable. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to strap on your seatbelt, because this training is going to take you through some things that are going to be powerful, and it's going to move you through places so that you could better understand who you are, and then in turn, and so you could better understand the things that you are supposed to do. Attached to this video is a PDF file that I want you to click on and download. It's going to be some questionnaires, and I want you to dig into this training, and I want you to do some homework on your end to help you develop who you are more clearly before we enter into our next video. We see you on this coming Wednesday.